Yeah, let's talk now to Oliver Coppard, who's the Mayor of South Yorkshire. Good to have you with us. Thank you for being on the programme this morning. And what is it that you saw where you were? We were discussing there some of the different motivations for some of the scenes that we saw over the course of the weekend. Have you got any real steer on what caused that outbreak of violence where you are?
Yeah, what caused that violence was violent people. It was thugs. It was extreme right people going down to attack a hotel, to try and burn a hotel with 240 of the most vulnerable people in our society living inside. That's what caused the violence yesterday, violent people.
What did you make to the scenes that you saw? I mean, it does almost seem miraculous that people weren't seriously hurt inside the hotel. I know there were some police officers that were hurt, but this was a very targeted attack on a particular hotel for a particular reason.
Yeah, I mean, like every decent person, not just in South Yorkshire, but across the country, I was utterly appalled by what I saw yesterday. It doesn't represent the place that I have been born and raised, the place that I now represent as the Mayor of South Yorkshire. It was appalling, utterly appalling violence carried out by people with no care or regard for the safety, not just of the people in the hotel, but police officers simply trying to do their job. There were people in that police line who that was their first experience of public order policing, junior officers holding the line, protecting those people in that hotel against hundreds of far-right thugs. And it's simply not acceptable in our communities.
Not acceptable. And quite clearly we've heard from politicians about the need to stamp this out and bring law and order back to the streets. We also, though, know that resourcing is a huge issue. We talk about fast-tracking prosecutions, a huge challenge. We know that prisons are close to capacity, a huge challenge. What will it take to restore law and order? Because it doesn't certainly seem at this stage that these protesters, these hooligans, are going anywhere.
Yeah, well, look, what we're saying is the consequences of 14 years of austerity, of our police forces being stretched to breaking point. I spoke to the Home Secretary late last night. She absolutely understands the challenge ahead of us over the next few days, the next few weeks. There is, of course, a challenge for policing. We will have to have that conversation, of course we will, about protest, about policing resources, about social media. Those conversations are for the days and weeks ahead. But today, the focus has to be on bringing communities together. I will be out on the streets later this morning helping with the cleanup, as I know a load of other people will be, because that's the type of place that South Yorkshire is, and we've got to show that face of South Yorkshire to the rest of the world, and that's absolutely what we will do from here on.
Yeah, I mean, how do you reassure people that today will be feeling quite scared and wondering what's going to be happening today? Are they going to be the next town or the next city that this happens?
Well, look, there will be police out on the streets. I am sure there will be significant presence across South Yorkshire. I can't speak for other forces, other areas, but I'm sure that will be the case elsewhere besides. But it's incumbent on all of us, whether the Mayor of South Yorkshire, anybody else across our communities, to reach out to friends, to strangers, to speak to that person down your street, that Muslim family, that family from somewhere else who's moved in recently, to make sure they're okay, that they know that we're all in this together. That's the only way that we get through this, that we restore that sense of community, that sense of togetherness, which I know is a hallmark of what this place is, what our country is, certainly what South Yorkshire is. That's what we need to focus on now. And I'm sure that's what we will see from the decent people who are just as appalled as I am about what we've seen over the weekend and over the last few days.